0.2 seconds thanks to 2 dust jewels, anomalous minion speed, and a window of opportunity passives. When these skeletons expire, they'll each deal 420 damage to us thanks to Heartbound Loop boosted by noxious catalysts, and we can safely tank this damage without unbreakable.
What is happening?
Damage we need. We have 2,923 life, 64 energy shield, and minus 60% chaos res.
What is
so when
this?
we trigger Forbidden Rite, we take 1,896 damage. So we are now taking a total of 3,156 damage, triggering our big boy.
What?
It's affected ward, so we take a bit of damage to our life. Skill gems supported by cast when damage taken have a cooldown of 250 milliseconds before they contract damage and cast again, and we reduce this with a 10% increased cooldown recovery rate balance, so we can cast spells every 0.23 seconds. Got all that? All you really have to know is that we're damaging ourselves forever to trigger spells.
I found this build last night, and this was ridiculous. Ward loop. What?
When I asked Nicholas, one of our community managers, to describe this build to me, he said, "It just walks around and shits out spells." Now I've seen it in action. I couldn't put it any better myself.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome to Build.
Look at that. That's wild, dude.
Games. This week we're looking at Aksha's Ward Loop Scion, which uses a complex cast when damage taken setup.
It's just running around doing spells, and I don't even see any skills.
I hope you like maths.
This game keeps blowing my mind.
Ward.
Okay.
It's a form of defense granted by expedition items.
Okay.
When we get hit, damage will be taken from our ward before our life or energy shield, and the ward will break. After breaking,
so it's kind of like another shield.
Restored after a delay. Olroth's Resolve is a unique flux that completely transforms this mechanic.
Okay.
After you take a swig, your ward will be greatly reduced, but it won't break during the entire flask effect.
Okay,
What's
so
important
I got it.
Is that the damage you take is still trapped, even if it doesn't overcome the ward. Thus, you can intentionally damage yourself to trigger cast when damage taken setups without actually losing life or energy shield, as long as each hit is less than your ward. This build.
So how do you make sure that each hit is less than your ward? I mean I understand the ward. It's kind of like an extra shield, and then when you use a flask, it doesn't, it doesn't get rid of it as long as the attack is less. So I get that.
Forbidden Rite and summon skeletons, both linked with cast when damage taken, combined with Heartbound Loop to cause recursion of self-inflicted damage forever.
Okay.
This damage triggers our other gem setups, which also use the cast when damage taken gem to cast a myriad of spells which we spew forth relentlessly.
Look at that. He's not even using. He's not.
Guide,
is he even attacking? I don't even think he's attacking.
The maths of this loop works.
I don't even think he's attacking.
We're going in.
Hold on your hats. All right.
Our main damage link uses a level 21 Divergent Cast when damage taken gem, which triggers supported spells when you take a total of 2,935 damage. We're dealing damage to ourselves using Heartbound Loop's 350 physical damage taken on minion death mod, and Forbidden Rites take 40% of maximum life and 25% of maximum energy shield as chaos damage effect. We summon 3 skeletons which have a duration of 0.2 seconds thanks to 2 dust jewels, anomalous minion speed, and the window of opportunity passives. When these skeletons expire, they'll each deal 420 damage to us thanks to Heartbound Loop boosted by noxious catalysts, and we can safely tank this damage without unbreakable ward. This comes to 1,260 out of the 2,935 damage we need. We have 2,923
You're losing me.
For energy shield and minus 60% chaos res.
So I can't comprehend.
We take 1,896 damage. So we're now taking a total of 3,156 damage, triggering our big boy damage spells. This is more damage in a single hit than our Olroth's affected ward, so we take a bit of damage to our life. Skill gems supported by cast when damage taken have a cooldown of 250 milliseconds before they contract damage and cast again, and we reduce this with a 10% increased cooldown recovery rate Beltcraft, so we can cast spells every 0.23 seconds. Got all that? All you really have to know is that we're damaging ourselves forever to trigger spells. But there's
okay, if someone in the comments understands what just happened right there, dumb it down for me because that just blew my mind. So I grasp the idea that we're doing damage to ourselves and causing like a chain reaction. Is that kind of what I'm getting here?
There's a few more important things about our self-damage loop.
Okay.
One is that we have to use the Brutal Restraint Timeless Jewel to grab the Traitor. This keystone provides flask charges every second, but spread out among our flasks. When combined with flask investment on our tree, and as long as we don't have too many flasks equipped, we can keep our all-important ward flask, Olroth's Resolve, up permanently.
Okay, now see, that
also,
makes sense to me.
We start our cast when damage taken loop by swapping weapons. Up our sleeve, we have 2 wands crafted with a mod that summons spectral spirits when equipped.
Spectral spirits.
We're using Heartbound Loop that damages us when a minion dies.
Okay.
So when we swap our weapons back and forth, the spectral spirits die from being unequipped, and their death triggers Heartbound Loop and damages us.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. Dude. What? Oh my, dude, that is so cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that if you had the spirits out and then flipped your weapons that it would kill it makes sense, but I never thought of that. Oh my gosh, it just blew my mind.
And the damage train has left the platform.
Then it starts. So it's obviously a bunch of different skills.
What are actual damage spells?
Okay, yeah, teach me something here.
Akshay suggests using 2 main cold damage setups.
Okay.
Using spells like Ice Spear and Creeping Frost with cast when damage taken and the appropriate supports for extra damage.
Okay.
An important note is that the spells in our staff are supported by Arcane Surge and Bone Chill, which boost the damage of both spells setups. The weapon of choice here is Annihilating Light for that huge triple damage elemental spell boost. We're supplementing this with as many other damage mechanics as we can sneak in. Righteous Fire, Sigil of Power, Sniper's Mark, Link to cast when damage taken, so it's auto-marking targets as we walk. We won't go into all of these, but
I can't get over it.
Is our power charges.
The build is blowing my mind, and I am literally at loss for words with this.
Then picking up a Cluster Jewel with the Stormstrider mod, 10% chance to gain a power charge when you shock a chilled enemy.
Okay.
Since our primary spells are chilling everything, and we can shock things sometimes.
I swear I'm trying to follow.
Damage, we can trigger the mod often enough to have reliable power.
I might be still too new to the game to be able to follow all this. I know what a lot of these things are, but like
we can't use any armor, physical damage reduction.
How do people come up with stuff like this?
Because that would break our cast when damage taken loop. Instead, we have to get creative. We've got a small life pool, only around 3k life.
Yeah.
And thanks to our Oroth's Resolve Flask, we don't lose any life from hits smaller than our 1600 Unbreakable Ward.
Right.
We also supplement our small life pool by using Mind Over Matter to direct some of the life we do actually lose to our mana.
Okay, to
make the most of our Unbreakable Ward, Akshay notes that we should invest in mods and passives which recoup life and mana upon taking damage.
Oh my gosh, okay.
These mods are very effective because we're taking a lot of damage that is ignored.
Look at that regen.
Essentially letting us recoup life and mana for free. Additionally, since we have permanent flask
that is wild to me.
It makes sense to use some strong defensive flasks.
So even though he's taking damage and he's inflicting damage on himself, he has enough regen to make it look like he's not even being touched. That is wild. I like that.
Making whatever the best choice is for our setup. We're also reducing the shock effect on us by 95%.
Okay.
Thanks to the Soul of Garakan on the Pantheon and an Eater of Worlds implicit mod. This shock reduction is essential because without it, our self-damage setup would just insta-give us every time we get shocked. Akshay must be congratulated.
That is wild.
Such a build guide,
that is just wild to me.
To help others make it work. This build is complex enough that missing just one element can break the entire thing.
That is so.
Thanks to Akshay for their contribution. Be sure to check out the link below for their detailed guide. If you'd like to see your build featured,
that is wild, dude.
pathofexile.com.
Every time that I think that this game can't get crazier or crazier, I see something like this. Look at that. Dude, just look at that. This game is crazy. Like, I understand that there's builds that you can do and there's all these different things that you can do, but really? Dude, oh my God. How do people come up with these builds? I want to know, how do people come up with these builds? Like, you have to have a PhD in freaking Path of Exile in order to come up with a build that complex and just know what flask you need to use so you don't take this much damage, or do this or do that or do this, or you need this or you need that or you need this, or hey, now you need exactly 90% shock resist in order to make the build work. Like, I don't know, man. There ain't no way I'm not smart enough. This is plain and simple. To come up with something like that, no way. Dude. Oh, absolutely crazy. But hey, guys, listen, we will be streaming this weekend. I still don't know yet if we're going to be playing Diablo 4 or Path of Exile. So make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and go check out my Twitch. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go get it.